Velkommen til Kanal 10 Kveld. Denne kvelden så skal du få 2 nye dokumentarer fra Hurtti Murtti. Det er et filmselskap som vi nylig stiftet bekjentskap med. Vi har allerede vist 2 gode, viktige, sterke dokumentarer fra de. Den ene het Min nazifamilie, og den andre het One Ruler, som handlet om forfulgte kristne. Begge disse kan du finne ute på vår Play. Hvis du går inn på kanal10.no Play, så finner du de der. Det er viktige dokumentarer og viktig budskap i denne tiden, og det skal du også få denne kvelden. Vi har valgt ut 2 dokumentarer. Den første heter Plan A. Det er en som har en plan, og det er bare en plan, og det er plan A. Og det er snakk om jødene som de siste 150-160 årene har gjort Aliya, det vil si de har reist tilbake fra de landene de har levd ute i diasporaen, tilbake til Israel. Og vet du det, at i Guds ord så er det over 70 bibelske profetier om at Gud vet når det nærmer seg tidens ende, det er et av tegnene på endetiden, at han vil samle dem fra alle verdens hjørner og plassere dem i landet. Og der har han en hensikt. Og det kalles i dag for Aliya, det å reise hjem til Israel. Og vi vet helt fra dette startet spesielt etter 2. verdenskrig, da staten Israel ble gjenopprettet, så ble det en trygg havn for jøder. Og i dag så er det, når denne dokumentaren ble lavet, det er i 2016, så snakket de om at det var 8,5 millioner som jøder i Israel, men nå har det økt, det er vel oppe i nærmere 9-10 millioner, cirka halvparten av alle verdens jøder som har kommet tilbake til landet sitt. Og vi tenker på det, så flott, det er bibelske profetier som blir oppfylt. Men for de som forlater landene sine da, og kommer ned til Israel, så kan det ha både positive sider og sine utfordringer. Og spesielt etter 1990, etter at jernteppet falt, og det var den store utvandringen av sovjetiske jøder, så kunne vi høre også gripende historier om familier som ble skilt. Kanskje de hadde noen gamle besteforeldre og oldeforeldre som levde i de landene hvor de hadde bodd i så mange år, og måtte da adskilles, for kanskje besteforeldrene skjønte at dette kommer ikke vi til å klare, vi får bli her, mens da kanskje barn, barnebarn og svigerbarn og så videre reiste hjem. Sånn at her har det mange sider, men det er en del av Guds profeti, av oppfyllelsen, fordi Gud samler de der for en hensikt. Det skal vi komme tilbake litt senere i programmet, men først nå, i denne første delen, denne dokumentaren du skal få som heter Plan A, så vil du møte 5 forskjellige jøder som kjente at de ble dratt tilbake, deres vei og deres historie. Så vi setter på da første dokumentaren, Plan A.
When I moved here, people would always make the joke, oh, Aliya made Aliya. That does mean the same as moving to Israel, going up, ascending, kind of entering a higher consciousness. So first of all, it was a name picked by my parents because they're like, wow, we thought it was a beautiful name. Little do they know that it would become my fate moving here.
I moved here from Rochester, New York, 6 years ago. I'm right now looking for work. I can see that the language is a big part, learning Hebrew, and I have been able to learn Hebrew, but it took some time.
I made Aliya to Israel when I was 15 years old, and it was a very hard process when we came. The story isn't over when you get on a plane and come here. It's not over. The problems really begin.
I was born in Crimea, in Soviet Union, and of course I grew up with a dream to leave Soviet Union one day and to go to free world and to come to Israel.
I grew up in North America, outside Boston. I'm married and I have 4 children. In America, I was a school nurse at a Jewish day school. And here I'm just being a mom and a new immigrant, which is definitely a full-time job to be a new immigrant.
So I think it was sort of several events that influenced my decision to come here. We grew up in a household that was very Jewish culturally. Both of our parents are rabbis, so we grew up in the synagogue surrounded by that. But Israel or Zionism was never really talked about. My grandma nearly made Aliya, or immigrated to Israel, in 1947, I think. So there was an influence, but it wasn't pushed on us at all. And then, really, it happened when I went to college and I got more involved in the Jewish and pro-Israel community that I started to learn about this beautiful country. So I did a year abroad here and met amazing people and totally fell in love with the culture. And that influenced me to want to immigrate here in 2010.
And I was born in a Jewish family, but not a religious family. When I grew up, we had no churches and no synagogues. So I grew up in atheistic environment, but somehow I always believed in God, and that is very special. By the age of 18, I really was looking for God. I really was searching and praying even more. It was a time of uncertainty, and I really got lots of questions. I was happy with my life, and I just married with my wife, and we thought, maybe one day, because we are Jewish, so maybe one day when we're going to retire, we will go to our homeland and we will move to Israel. But of course, God changed our plans, and just in the middle of all our plans, He showed up and showed us all the scriptures and spoke to our hearts, time to move. And here we are.
I moved here with my parents, and also my sister lives here. She's married and has 2 kids. Really, I'm happy that I've been able to move here and transition, and yeah, that it's been a challenging time, but also a very good time. And
Well, I grew up in a family that was very Zionistic, not in a way of like people would come and make Aliya. I'm the first person in my family. My husband was probably the big mover and shaker. He has been very, very patient in his life. He came when he was like 20, and he wanted to stay then and ended up going back to America. And then when we were married and we had 2 small children, we came for 6 months. And we had only planned for it to be 6 months, but he very much wanted to stay, and I very much wasn't ready. And then you get to the point where your kids are old enough so we felt like if we didn't do it at this year, then we were gonna wait till we were retired, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to come now.
The Jewish nation developed during their exile in Egypt around the year 1800 BCE. After living about 400 years in Egypt, the Jews returned to the land of Canaan, the land that God had promised to their ancestor Abraham as their eternal heritage. The second biblical exile took the Jews to Babylon around the year 600 BCE. Then, during the Roman Empire, in the year 70 CE, the Jewish people were once again scattered among the nations to the 4 corners of the world. But, beginning in the late 19th century, a modern-day exodus began, with Jews once again returning to the Promised Land. Israel is a tiny nation with a population of some 8.5 million, a mere 424 kilometers, or 263 miles from north to south, and only 15 kilometers, or 9 miles at its narrowest point. But in spite of this insignificance, Israel is constant front-page news.
Israel was never easy country to live in. When you come as a tourist, it's nice, lots of fun, biblical heritage, just beautiful country and beautiful beach like in my city. So it's nice for tourists. But when you come to live here, Bible called Israel a country country of milk and honey. But to have been able to use milk and honey as a local person, as a local citizen, you have to work hard.
I think what people don't know about Israel is that it's the only democracy in the Middle East, and the rights that people have in Israel are unparalleled in the Middle East. Like lesbian and gay community here, full equal rights. Arabs who are Israeli citizens have full equal rights. I think sometimes the media portrayals of Israel and what's the reality are so very, very different. It's sad.
It's just really important to form your opinions based on facts and real experiences rather than regurgitating what the media tells you to, which, as I've been learning in school, often has an agenda.
I think the land of Israel is a place that's certainly not perfect, but we have to protect our land here from those that are, as you can see, the land of Israel surrounded by all nations that want to kill us, and it's God's plan to protect this nation.
For much of their history, the Jewish people have been dispersed among the nations of the world, but in their isolated communities, they still maintain their traditions, a kosher diet, a calendar of celebrated holy days and feasts. And in spite of other societal norms that surrounded them, the diaspora Jews always kept the Jewish Sabbath, a weekly time of rest and worship from sundown on Friday until sundown Saturday. But in Israel, the Sabbath is universally observed throughout the nation, especially in Jerusalem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchi Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachi Ashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, baruchuni leshalom malachei Asher. Baruch ata Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei pri hagefen. Amen. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך.
Since the birth of modern Israel in 1948, more than 3 million Jews have moved back to the land, arriving from all points on the globe, from Iraq to Morocco, from China to India, from America to the former Soviet Union, from France to Ethiopia, literally from across the four corners of the world. Moving to Israel means getting accustomed to a new way of life.
We lived here in this apartment for about 3.5 weeks with like literally nothing. I had taken like 2 pots and 2 knives and a colander for pasta in my suitcase, and we had a folding table and 4 chairs that we borrowed from somebody, and we slept on air mattresses, and that was literally all we had. So it's been very pleasant to have like our sofas and our stuff and our beds and our blankets here from America. It's been very comforting.
I'd say the attitude of people is different here. There's maybe less patience sometimes, and just it's very fast-paced. It's different here living in Jaffa because it's right in the city and there's lots of noise, but it feels like a home, and feels like the people are friendly, and it's very much family-based here. And I can say, maybe coming from the US, that it wasn't so based on such family because people like their personal space. But here in the Middle East, you don't have a lot of personal space. You know, you're interacting with people all the time. Before I moved here, I had visited once or twice, so I knew a little bit of what it was like. But I guess I expected it to be maybe more similar to America or Europe, and to not be so difficult actually to integrate.
I'm extremely punctual. I'm always on time. Even if I know the other people won't be on time, I can't break myself of the habit to show up when we've agreed upon. So bringing with me those expectations and coming here, you either have to drop them or you'll go crazy.
I'm in Ulpan. I go to intensive Hebrew class every morning for 4.5 hours, 5 days a week. It's amazing. It's really, really helpful for the language skills, but also for the social piece, because almost everyone there is a new immigrant. And we're a very diverse group. In my group, we have people who are not religious, people who are religious, people who are from Russia, from the Ukraine, France. It's like a very, very nice mix of people. And so life feels, it's certainly challenging, but it's very, very beautifully easy in so many ways.
Some of the greatest survivors are the Ethiopian Jews. More than 20,000 of them moved to Israel during 2 secret operations carried out by the Israeli government in 1984 and 1991. While boarding the planes, many of them didn't even know their destination. After arriving in Israel, they faced a completely new reality, encountering a very modern society, a foreign language, and unfamiliar family hierarchies. While their elders struggled in their new home, the younger generation of Ethiopian Jews found it easier to blend into Israeli society. The Jewish Agency of the State of Israel helps with the return to the land, a journey known as Aliya. The agency works to help immigrants, starting with language classes in modern Hebrew. Chaim Mailspin, who made Aliya from America as a teenager, remembers his own challenges as a new citizen. Today, he helps other newcomers assimilate into Israeli life.
You have to find a house, you have to learn a language, you have to know, do I have to go to the army? How do I get married? Everything.
This young entrepreneur founded the Aliya Return Center in his home city of Tiberias. The center also provides accommodation and support for immigrants. Chaim is also working with the Jewish Agency. He's expanding the Return Center in a former boarding school by the Jordan River.
We have joined together with the Jewish Agency, and that's the one who does the Aliya and the absorption of Israel. We joined together with them, and we have now begun to lease this property. We are going to fix it up. We're going to all put our hands to the shovels and paint brushes and bring in contractors, and we are going to see this place again fulfill.
The wish next year in Jerusalem is a recurring theme in Jewish prayers. Each person has his or her own personal reasons for moving to Israel. Recently, many Jews have moved from France because of anti-Semitism. The exodus from Ukraine has increased because of unrest on its borders, and the faltering Russian economy has pushed Jews there to leave for Israel. Israel Pachter moved from Crimea, Ukraine in 1995. He was part of a wave of over 1 million immigrants from the former Soviet Union. Through numerous discussions with people who made Aliya in those years, he made an astonishing observation. Most of the immigrants were drawn to Israel by a similar, uncanny attraction.
They would say, I don't know, just something changed in one day, and my life in the country just became meaningless. When I think of future, I can see my future only in Israel. When I think about Israel, I feel light, I feel joy, I feel good. And if I think staying here, I feel kind of darkness, and I just know it's time to move. Many people really moved because they felt it. They totally atheists, not believers of any kind, but they felt something inside, and they felt like we need to move. And many would justify it, saying like, for the future of our kids, for the future of our nation, to keep our identity. But I can tell you, it was a really move of God.
And that idea of yearning for Zion and wanting to come back here has stuck with us from the exile throughout the diaspora. So, the birth of modern Zionism with Herzl is just another manifestation of that.
Thousands of years ago, the Tanakh, the holy scripture of the Jews, predicted the Jewish exodus from among the nations back to Israel. This is mentioned in the Bible more than 70 times, in Deuteronomy and the Psalms, as well as by many of the prophets, including Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel.
Bible speaks a lot, specifically about exodus from the northern countries. If you go north from Israel, you come in first to Lebanon, Syria, Turkey, then Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and Russia. And actually, it's going straight to Moscow, which really represents all the Soviet Union countries and Russian-speaking world. So actually, I found there is many scriptures speaks about Aliya, or movement of God. Because God's saying always, I will cause Jewish people to come back to land of Israel. I will do all kinds of miracles. I will take them out. And it's been growing in my heart, and I felt like, wow, Bible speaks about me.
You know what, the way that I always learned it is that Israel is really the place that all the Jews should be trying to live. And I'm really pleased to be a part of it. I don't know, does it mean Mashiach is coming and that I'm being here? I wish I could say yes, but I don't know. I'm not learned enough to say that.
It says in Jeremiah 31, verse 8, even if they are in the farthest places, from there I will gather them back here. So that's talking about now. You know that back in the time of Egypt, God sent Moses, and he said, I'm bringing the children of Israel out of slavery, out of anti-Semitism, and great miracles happened. The Red Sea parted, you know, and the Jordan River also parted, and they came into the Promised Land. We are living in a special time in history, a time that has never happened before on this scale.
I can see that there is a plan for this land, and the fact that so many different people have immigrated to this land also shows that it's a very special place.
Speaking about conflict here with the Arabs, or probably right way to say Muslims, maybe even better to say radical Muslims. To understand this conflict, we need to go back to history. And what happening here, it's not just conflict between people, but in our case, in case of Israel, the conflict is spiritual. It's going all the way back to the Bible, the envy between Isaac and Ishmael, and it's an old story.
The distinct identity of the Jews has set them apart from other nations. Perhaps this could explain some of the hostility directed against the Jewish people.
A lot of times Jews, and this is part of the heritage wherever we've been, whether that's Poland or Morocco or the United States, vary within our own community. And this disinterest in assimilating has frustrated a lot of people in the countries, which of course leads to anti-Jewish sentiments. So I never felt discriminated against, but I did feel very happy when I was within the Jewish community, because there's a certain cycle of the year with holidays and food and traditions and religion that you kind of blend into. So it's nice that when you're here, you don't have to explain if you need Passover off or there's a certain life event in your family.
And also to finally feel like you're part of the majority. For all my life, I was in the minority. I went to a school with 4 Jewish kids. It's so nice for my kids not to feel that.
The government of Israel estimates that nearly half of the world's Jews already live in Israel. The Jewish people are like birds in flight, crisscrossing the sky in different directions. But as birds instinctively fly south when winter approaches, so too Jews from around the world are drawn towards Israel, as the world's opinion becomes colder and hardened against them.
I've always said that, Israel needs to be here because you never know when Jews will have to leave their country. We've seen this recently in Ukraine. We've seen it with France. We just brought over some of the last Jews of Yemen who are being threatened to death. So, it's important that it's here because America's safe, and people say it always will be safe, and I do believe that, but you never know. You never know when having a safe haven will be a good thing.
det var sterkt å høre disse 5, og du dro kanskje kjensel på den ene, Israel Pokhtar, som også har blitt en god norgesvenn, ofte på besøk i Norge, og som vi har den glede av å også ha programmer av her på kanalen. Og det sterkt å se hvordan jødene gjennom alle disse årene, tenk det, fra 70 år etter Kristus, hvordan de ble spredt ut til alle verdens hjørner, kommer nå tilbake, og de har beholdt tradisjonene sine. Sånn som sabbaten, hver fredag, og hvordan språket deres nå fremdeles intakt, kulturer, tradisjoner som Gud påbød dem å holde. Hvordan det, selv om det ikke der frelsen ligger, den ligger i Jesus ene og alene, men hvordan tradisjonene og den forordningen Gud ga dem, har bevart dem som folk, det vil si Gud har bevart dem som folk. Og nå, det refererte jo til flere bibelvers i den dokumentaren du nå så, som jeg sa i sted, så det jo over 70 profetier om at dette folket skal samles. Og Esekiel 36 snakker jo om dette her, at han vil samle dem fra alle verdens hjørner, og som han sier, jeg gjør det ikke for deres skyld, sier han til de jødiske folk, men for mitt navns skyld. Sånn at når du og jeg blir bedt om å stå med det jødiske folk, trøste som å bli bedt om, stå med dem, velsigne dem, alt det som Bibelen forteller om hvordan vår relasjon skal være til det jødiske folk, så det jo på grunn av Guds ord sier det, fordi han har en plan hele veien. Og nå skal vi over til del 2 av de dokumentarene vi har lyst til å vise dere denne kvelden. Og den heter Wallbrakers, det vil si de som bryter murer. For vi vet at helt både før, men også spesielt etter at staten Israel landet ble gjenopprettet og jødene kom tilbake, så har det vært konflikter, det har vært motgang, det har vært kriger, og vi ser også i den tiden vi lever i nå, mer enn noensinne, hvordan alt dette her har eskalert, alt etter 7. oktober i 2023, og nå den krigen som har vært frem til nå med Iran, og vi ser det økende antisemittismen og hatet over hele verden, ikke bare nede i Midtøsten, og at Israel merker det der hvor de nå bor, men vi ser det over det hele. Og av denne dokumentaren du nå skal få høre, så har du og jeg noe å lære. For det vil også si det at Gud samler sitt folk i landet. Esekiel 36 sier også det, at det en hensikt til at han samler det der, for han skal stenke rent vann på den, står det. Han skal gi dem et nytt hjerte, ta ut dette steinhjertet, sette inn et kjødhjerte, og gjøre dem klar til å møte sin konge, sin Messias, som du og jeg allerede har fått lov til å tro på, Jesus fra Nazaret. Og det skjer. Både jøder og arabere får møte med Jesus i denne tiden. Både i Israel og ellers i Midtøsten, midt oppi alle konflikter og kriger og uroer som vi ser, så går Guds rike fram. Så den dokumentaren du nå skal få se, til stor inspirasjon for oss også. Og som en av de sier, du vil også her få en kjent den. Det den arabiske pastoren Salim Salash fra Israel. Og ellers så møter du flere, både jøder og arabere, som sto i denne konflikten, som kjente på frykten, som kjente på hatet. Men så fikk de, kan vi si, en berøring i hjertet av Gud. Men ikke bare en liten berøring der og da, men en berøring som forandret hjertet. Og hvis de kan fortelle hvordan Guds berøring i deres hjerte, og at han får fortsette å berøre dem og forandre dem, at hat og frykt blir vendt til forsoning, kjærlighet, og at man står sammen i åndens enhet, ja, det noe du og jeg også kan ta med oss nå i den tiden vi lever i. Så nå skal du få siste dokumentaren denne kvelden, som da heter Wallbrakers.
Division. We can see it everywhere, between individuals, countries, and nations. Walls are often made from fear or hate. They protect us when we feel threatened, neglected, or abused. One wall is the Arab-Israeli conflict. This is a documentary about defeating it in a very radical way.
In 80, I was in the scout. I was a teacher for the young boys who are coming to the scout, how to prepare the bomb, how to kill the Jews. And for us, from our hatred, from our anger from the Jewish, we teach the young boys in the scout how to kill, how to prepare the bomb, how to do a bad life for the Jewish. Because in that time, we was refused to see any Jewish in the old city.
In the time I be very young, I remember a lot of terror attacks. It's happened here in Tel Aviv and in other cities. And I remember that all what I think that all the Arabs, it's terrorists. Because of these things and because I see a lot of bad things happen in my country, in my heart, I begin to hate very strong the Arab people. And I remember that all what I say to my friends in this time, good Arab, it's die Arab. I remember after terror attacks, we go, some group of people just find Arab people and beat them in revenge because all what happened in Israel.
I moved to study here, computer programming. The neighbors and everybody were Jewish. That was like the first time that I started to interact with Jewish people. So there was always waves of terrorism in the street. So people were more afraid from the Arabs. So when they ever see me as an Arab, they will, of course, they can recognize me as an Arab. So they will be afraid from me, and they would be treating me as a terrorist sometimes, even though I'm not a terrorist. So their hate or their discrimination reflected on my personality. So I started also really to not like the Jewish people. They didn't want to do anything with the Jewish people.
In Israel, Arabs and Jews are separated by language, religion, and culture. They do not have much interaction on their free time, and that feeds suspicion and hostility. Relationships between Arabs and Jews depend a lot on area. For example, Haifa is a very mixed city where both cultures live in harmony. But the closer you get to Jerusalem, the more tension you can see. But there are Wallbrakers, Jews and Arabs. You can find them on both sides of the checkpoints. For security reasons, those who live under the Palestinian Authority could not speak with us. But we met Christian Arabs and Messianic Jews from Israel. They have found a solution for peace that politicians have not succeeded in. Raja Salame grew up in the old city of Jerusalem. From his childhood, he was taught that Jews are the enemies. Raja became a drug addict and a father of 6 children. For the future of his family, he went to a rehabilitation center in Haifa, inhabited by both Arabs and Jews.
And when I go there and I hear Hebrew, I was so scared and afraid because I was looking to myself what I am doing here with these Jewish people, and I was so scared. And I remember that I go to the kitchen, I steal a knife, and I keep it with me for a few days because I was afraid that something will happen to me.
But there were kind people, and especially one Jewish man who helped Raja a lot. This melted his fear away.
It was amazing to see it and to hear the love that they are talking with me in a way of loving, not in a way of the enemy, that they are hating me or they are angry from me. No, we have complete peace and love in the house. Then I believe that one night that God came and visited me, He changed my heart. He took the stone heart in my life and He changed it. He gave me a flesh heart. From that time, God changed me and He gave me the love for my enemy.
Hurtti Cohen comes from a very traditional Jewish family from Tel Aviv. He felt hate towards Arabs because of terror attacks in Israel. As a teenager, Hurtti met Messianic Jews, Jewish people who believe in Jesus. At first, he resisted them, but later on, Jewish scriptures convinced him that Jesus, Yeshua in Hebrew, is the Messiah.
Something very strong happened in my heart in the time I started to believe in Yeshua. It's changed all the way that I thinking. I read in the New Testament something that I not read in any other place, that Yeshua say, pray for your enemies. Yeshua say that, pray for your enemies, and it's very touch in my heart. It's not just touch it in my heart, it's changed my heart. And I understand new things. I understand that all the conflict, it's not just because the people, it's a spiritual war. And it's very changed my heart. And now I have a lot of Arab friends.
Peter Nasser grew up in an Arab village in the north of Israel. After moving to Tel Aviv, he faced discrimination as an Arab. This resulted in him choosing to live abroad for years.
Back then, I also hated half of the world, probably, and hate, bitterness all filled my heart. And as I started to read the Bible and I started to understand that, really, first of all, I'm not Christian. Although I claimed to be Christian, but I wasn't Christian. I was just a man that trying to seek peace by my powers. So I started to read the Bible and I really prayed and I said to God that, you know, I don't know, what can you do? You know, but I'm really desperate and I'm broken. If you really exist, if you can change my heart, please do. And that was the first time that I really started to feel peace in my heart. Peace that, you know, I never experienced since my childhood, that I, you know, was innocent and I started to go away from my faith. I didn't feel that peace, and that moment I knew that, you know, His love can change me, and it doesn't matter the world, what they think about me and how they treat me, but, you know, God changed my heart at that time. And yeah, love and peace filled my heart instead of the hatred and bitterness that was there.
Peter did not have a plan to return to Israel, but when his life changed, he started to feel he should return.
And I did go back to Israel, and I really felt the love for the Jewish people, and I started to share this love with the Jewish people. I told them that, you know, basically I'm an Arab, and I love them, even though they, you know, don't know me, they probably are scared of me, but I love them because because of Jesus, and Jesus is really Jewish, and I that was like the first time that I connected that Jesus is Jewish and he loves me and he died for my sins and changed my heart. And it started, this was the first time that I really started to connect with the Jewish people on a basis of love, not hatred.
Joel Yelsky is a Messianic Jew from Israel. He had a very complicated relationship with Arabs because of bad experiences.
When I was in the military, I remember an attack that took place in a village called Itamar, and a family was killed there. An Arab Palestinian person went into their home and killed the family. And I remember sitting in my base. It happened like very near my base. It was a big mess. Everybody was called up. And I remember sitting there that night. Nobody slept that night. We were up all night. And I remember, in a very clear way, my heart that night got filled with so much hatred towards the Arab people.
Later on, when Joel was working in a store, 2 Arabs attacked him, and he had to get 21 stitches on his head. After these conflicts, Joel did not want to interact with Arabs, but God called him to be a wallbreaker.
And about 3 years ago, the Lord really changed my heart and took my life in a very new and different direction. And so I started looking for opportunities. Where can we really join in with Arabs to see unity within the context of worship and prayer, developing relationship?
Joel is working at the House of Prayer in Jerusalem. It is opposite the Temple Mount, a place in the center of the conflict. Just behind it, the younger generation is learning how to hate.
I am living in Christian quarter, in the end of Christian quarter, in the beginning of Muslim quarter, and there is a school for the kids, for the small boys and girls, for the Muslim area. I hear them every day what they teach. They teach killing, they teach blood, they teach hatred.
In the north of Israel, Arabs and Jews often get along better than in Jerusalem. There is just a lack of communication. That was true for Salem Shalash, a Christian Arab pastor from Nazareth. He did not hate Jews, but he did not know many either until he went to Bible school.
It was historical days for me. We were 12 Arab pastors and 12 Jewish Messianic pastors. It's like the tribe of Israel and disciples of Jesus. And, you know, we were together, lived together, even we have intensive courses that we spend in the hotel time together. It was really heaven on earth. And, you know, for many years I didn't know that there is real believers, Jewish believers in the land. When I met them, I felt that we are one family.
Several organizations work for peace and unity of Arabs and Jews. Joel and the House of Prayer concentrate on conferences that gather hundreds of young Jews and Arabs to worship God together.
And we saw God move in an amazing way. I mean, we just saw God deliver young people from bondage, from hatred. We saw people just hungry for more of God. And God really showed up in a very powerful way.
Some Arab and Jewish believers even perform reconciliation in their marriages. Peter, an Arab man, has a Jewish wife. They met during an evangelistic outreach of the organization called Jews for Jesus, where both of them are working.
So from that time, I started to like this girl, and I didn't think about it much that she's Jewish or not. But later on, after a couple of weeks, we started to date, and then I realized that she's Jewish, and I'm an Arab, and that was for me a step that, okay, I love the Jewish people, but this is another, you know, situation here, culturally we're different, thoughts and how we view the world and stuff like that, it must be different. And it was, even for my parents, a little bit hard that I'm gonna marry a Jewish woman. It's not common in Israel, and people are scared to do something like that. Even among believers, it's not something that you often see Jewish and Arab couple. So me coming from basically hating Jewish people, didn't like them, to loving them, and for her to come from also fearing the Arabs, resentment toward the Arabs, to come and marrying one, doesn't mean that we're perfect, doesn't mean that we don't disagree, but we can, there is a reconciliation through Jesus.
Aliya Foss, who is a Jewish youth leader in a Messianic congregation, has another surprising love story. His marriage is a living proof that Jesus can make friends of enemies.
I think God, in His humor, decided to give me a German wife. Especially Jews and Germans. Jews do have some hate in their hearts. And, when we celebrate Holocaust Memorial Day, this wound is coming up again. It's something that I don't think time is going to heal. I believe this is only forgiveness can heal.
Forgiveness is a crucial tool in breaking down walls, because it does not turn a blind eye to hard situations, nor does it encourage us to hide our hate or fear. Forgiveness means giving them up. It does not always change our conditions, but it changes our perspective.
You have to learn to live within the conflict because it isn't going anywhere, at least not anytime soon the way I see it. I can't solve it, I don't have the answers to it, but we need to start looking for how do we live above that. And so that's why I see worship and prayer such a powerful vehicle towards unity, because it really sets our eyes on Jesus and away from the reality of what is happening around us.
Today, many people face pressure, conflict, and fear in their lives. Is it possible to rise above them?
I think we as believers, especially as believers, are not this worldly thinking, or being afraid of something. This is not our way, because God is with us. He is our confidence.
I think what the enemy tries to bring in more than anything else is fear. And that's what this conflict is actually, a lot of it is about fear, intimidation, getting people afraid of one another. If you can keep people away from each other, they'll never develop relationship. The conflict you see happen in Israel is very similar to what's happening in all of the Middle East. And I think also Europe is starting to experience that. And a lot of it has to do with fear of Muslims, terrorism, and again, it goes into fear and intimidation. But we know for a fact that God is moving, and thousands and tens of thousands of people are seeing the Lord for the first time in their life. People who would have never heard the gospel before. And there's a promise in Isaiah 19 that speaks about unity between Israel, Assyria, and Egypt. And that really speaks to the region of the Middle East. So more than just a little picture of Israel and the Arab people here, there's something about the Middle East that is happening. And there's not just a vision for unity with Arab people here in this land, but unity with Arabs around us. Israel and the Arabs of the Middle East, God promises that there will be unity there and they will worship the Lord together. And when they do, it's going to release a blessing to the earth. And ultimately, that's what we're pursuing, for God to release that blessing to the earth through the unity that we want to see happen between Jewish and Arab people together.
The power of the gospel is reflected in a very unique way. when Christian Arabs share the message of Jesus with Jews.
And I'm here for one reason, to share the gospel to everyone I meet, Arab and Jewish, both of them. We want to tell them that we love you, Jesus died on the cross for you, and he wants to save you from eternal death to eternal life. And we want to make them jealous. And you know, we share these projects, you know, that with these people, you know. First of all, I visited a family, a Jewish family, and I shared with them, you know, a food package. And she was looking at me like this, and she was shocked. Arab giving Jewish food? Why? She said, why you are doing that? Arab and Jewish fighting all the time together. Why you bring food for us? I said, because Jesus teach me to love you. And I want to share with you about the truth. Which truth? It's your Messiah. This is your Messiah. This is your scriptures.
One question still remains. Can Jews and Arabs make peace without Jesus? There is a lot of good cooperation and efforts for peace in Israel. But unity in forgiveness and the love of Jesus seems to be a more efficient way to gain real peace.
If I wasn't a believer and they weren't the believers, first of all, I don't think there was any connection. I think they would be looking at me as an Arab, not as somebody a friend. And there would be this culture difference, barrier, background. This would be something that, a wall between us. I believe that Jesus broke this wall, as it's written in the Bible. There is no more Greek or Jew, as it says. We all one, and we all brothers and sisters, and that's how they see me.
With Yeshua it's different, because if now have a political solution, I know this political solution, it's just on the paper, nothing not happen in the art. But Yeshua, he changed the art. It's not about the paper, it's about the art. Yeah, it's like religious. Religious, it's a lot of time about the paper, but Yeshua want to do the peace in the art. Because of that, one of his names, it's Prince of Peace, because he come to give the real peace. And this is what I see in the time that I be with Arab believers. I feel the peace. I feel that even if we not understand the languages, even we not agree about everything, but have peace between us. And this is what Yeshua do.
Actually, I never talk with the Jewish in the politics side, because if we touch this politics point, we will become angry from each other. So this is why every time I say the politics, it's not for us, because we are not coming to be angry from each other. We are coming to show love. The moment that we show love, we are in quiet and peace.
It's so easy to, in a split second, lose the unity, you know, get into arguments, and things blow up, especially if you're talking about a group with so many different people. There's a lot of differences to work through. How we do church life, how we do family life, how we think politically and theologically. And you have to really overcome that. And the only way you can do that is by focusing on where you have common ground, through relationship. As you build relationship, you get to know the person and you build trust. And when you build trust, you can start seeing the disagreements and you're not afraid to disagree. And that's very important, because we will disagree. Me and my friend, we disagree on issues, but we have enough trust to know that that's not going to break our relationship. And reconciliation is not something that happens once and then you're done. Forgiveness is ongoing, and it comes on both sides. You have to do it on both sides. And we have to learn how to continually forgive, allow our hearts to be tender with forgiveness, to turn to the Lord. I mean, you're going to experience moments of bitterness, and you're gonna start feeling that hatred come back up. There's moments where I start feeling that within my own heart, and I have to turn to God and say, God, help me. I'm feeling that bitterness again. I don't want that. Psalm 133 has a very interesting promise. It says there how good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together. I really see that there's an anointing when there's unity. There's a breakthrough that happens when there's unity. God is there.
So suddenly you become part of big family. And this big family, you don't choose who is in your family, you know, and you realize that suddenly, after reconciling to God, there are people that naturally you wouldn't be in contact with them. Naturally, it's not natural. You know, naturally you don't want to be with them. So I believe it's really important that the Christians we really understand the message of one new man. That on the cross, it says in Ephesians, He died for us. And through Him, through His blood, we are one new man, Jew and Gentile.
If Jesus can unify Arabs and Jews and make brothers out of enemies, is there any wall of hate or fear in our lives that He would not be able to break down as well?